So I have the honor to introduce our next speaker, Carrie Charles. Carrie is an entrepreneur, coach, and thought leader. She is the president of Broadstaff, a staffing firm specializing in the telecom industry. She is also a master certified life, business, and career coach. For over 20 years, Carrie's helped thousands of individuals grow personally and professionally. She has helped companies such as General Dynamics, Hewlett-Packard, and Eli Lilly attract, retain, and develop their employees. Carrie is also a professional speaker and author. She has been a featured expert on NBC, HSN, and Clear Channel networks. Please join me in welcoming Carrie Charles to the stage.
Thank you, Blair, for that wonderful introduction. And I want to thank Steve for inviting me to speak at South Wireless Summit. This is definitely one of my favorite events of the year, and it's truly for a great cause. I have one in college right now, and I've got two that will be starting college in the fall, so I know how expensive college is. It's an exciting time in our industry. You know, it feels so good to be a part of something that's making such a huge difference in the world and also changing the way that we live our lives. But with big dreams come big challenges. And today I want to talk about one of those challenges with you. In fact, this is probably the most important component in building out our wireless infrastructure, and it's people. So without people, there's no progress. And without people, the vision of 5G will not be fully realized. So Walt Disney once said, you can design, create, and build the most wonderful place in the world, but it takes people to make that dream a reality. So today, I'd like to talk about the current state of the wireless workforce. We've heard a lot about it so far, which is wonderful. I'm so glad that it's getting more attention now because it's definitely going to be a crisis soon. We're going to talk about the wireless skills gap and what that means to you as hiring managers, candidates, and also the future of our industry. We're going to look at solutions, strategies, and trends that's going to help you navigate this new talent landscape and be more competitive in the marketplace. But first, I'd like to show you a short video that many of you can relate to. So let's go ahead and put that up.
You have a resume I can take a look at?
Yeah.
I didn't need that.
I'm very good at working with circuits.
Discuss the purpose of forests, domains, and organizational units.
So forests are really important for our ecosystem.
Networking is very important. I am on Facebook and LinkedIn.
I'm an expert at Hopping.
I am a fast hopper.
What do you know about DNS as it pertains to AD?
DNS is a server. DN server. There's lots of things that DNN can stand for. Daniel Newcomb. I went to high school with a guy named Daniel Newcomb. If you're not familiar with DNS, you might think it stands for Daniel Newcomb Server. It doesn't.
3 technical features of Windows Server 08 that add significant business value.
Are you a professional Marvel player?
And people really aren't able to get as much done if they're grumpy.
DHCP. What do you know about DHCP?
Like DHSH or DSHS. ADD, ADHD, I'm familiar.
Can you repeat the question? Rate on a scale of 1 to 5 where you think you're
Do you guys work with DOS?
Do we get free soda?
Do we have to wear undershirts?
Is there any video game relevant here?
Define applicable.
Do you check references?
We do.
I would like to cross off any of them.
I don't know if I told you this before, but you have beautiful eyes.
Why do I want to be an IT guy? I don't like people.
Can you repeat the question? I'm getting lost in your eyes.
So like, I don't know, it's kind of peeking at us, especially.
Alright, so it's the computers can't break up with you by telling you were never dating in the first place.
Oh, hey Mom, I'm in the interview right now.
Would you like half a churro?
I just really
I'm sorry,
like this job.
Here's something that people don't know. Churro is Mexican for cinnamon stick.
I don't think that's true.
Who is this? She's hot.
It's my daughter.
How old is she? You think this is going really well, right?
Take the feet off the desk.
Right, of course.
You're not even wearing socks. Bill, thank you.
I feel like the connection that here goes beyond a professional level. I know you, your family.
You don't know me or my family. There's no reason for you to be any part of my
I'm
life.
having a barbecue.
I'm sorry.
This Saturday.
I'm busy. My daughter has soccer.
Where?
So how many of you are responsible for hiring in your current role? Okay, great, quite a few of you. So as you know, hiring can be a very frustrating and time-consuming process. You know, it's like a never-ending search for candidates, and then you have your inbox filled with resumes. You have interviews, probably like this. I mean, how many of you could relate to this? You've had some bad interviews, right? And some that you go have a beer afterwards, tell your friends, and just laugh for hours, right? We could tell many stories. And you know, you go through this. In fact, one of my favorites is when we're vetting candidates, and they say, "Yes, I know DOS. I can do DOS." So it's unbelievable what's out there right now. But you know, I want to give you today some tips and strategies. I know hiring is not on the top of your list. It really isn't. In fact, most managers have a love-hate relationship with hiring. So today, I really want to give you some tools that you can use to make hiring great again. So let's take a look at the wireless workforce, the current state of our industry and the people in it. So the current unemployment rate in the U.S. is what? Does anyone know? 4.1, right. 4.1, 4.0, that's where we are in the U.S. now. In our industry, in the telecommunications industry, it is 3.4% right now. You'll see that it went down in December. That's usually because of the retail portion of our industry and hiring up for the holidays. So, looking at where we're going with 5G, 5G deployments could create 3 million new jobs. 3 million. It's a lot of jobs. So where are these people going to come from? So I interviewed 50 hiring managers recently, and there were some common themes that I found. Number one, there is obviously a shortage of talent at all levels. Many of you should be experiencing that right now. And the time to hire is at an all-time high. What does this mean? Okay, what does this mean to you? Well, it's taking longer to find qualified candidates. And secondly, there's been an increase in background checks, drug screens, and personality assessments. So it's just taking longer to get through that process, and it's very frustrating for a hiring manager. There's low employee engagement, you know, too many vacant positions, and the current employees, some of them are doing the jobs of 1, 2, 3 people right now because of vacant positions. There's too few high potential leaders, so companies are not identifying and developing their leaders effectively. And also there's a loss of top talent to other organizations. This has always been an issue, but it's even more of an issue now in a talent shortage, which we're going to talk about in a few minutes. So today's hiring managers have a tough job ahead of them, for sure. So we are facing the worst talent shortage since 2007. Many candidates have 2 or 3 job offers in their hand at one time. And you know, this is a real problem that needs real solutions. And you know, the reason why I'm speaking about this, in fact, I'm speaking at 6 events in the next 60 days about this issue. It's a hot topic. Because we need to, you and I, you know, the people in this room can do something about that. Whether you're a hiring manager, a non-hiring manager, whoever you are, we're in this industry together and we can make a difference here, and we need to. So yesterday, Senator Daschle talked about the talent shortage. He said we need to incent, train, and prepare the wireless workforce for the future. Jonathan Adelstein, he addressed the skills gap and the need for training and education in our industry. And Todd, with Nate, just spoke about the workforce shortage in our industry. So this is a problem. It's only going to get worse, and we want to look for solutions. Let's talk about what's causing it first. So where is it coming from? Well, number one is workforce retirement. The baby boomers are getting older. There's an explosive growth in our industry, as we all know. There's fewer workers entering the industry. There's a lack of training and development, and also new complex skills that are needed. So what does this mean to companies? Companies are losing money. I just heard from one of my clients, and he said we lost an $800,000 project due to the fact that we just don't have the people to support it. So it's not that the companies don't have the jobs or the work. They don't even want to get the work because they don't have the people to perform. So they're losing money and projects. They're spending more time and money hiring and retaining. Candidates are more expensive now, and retention is more expensive. Someone comes to you and says, I have another job offer and it's paying $10,000 more than I'm making now. You can counteroffer, it's going to be more expensive. So it's costing us all more money. There's decreased employee engagement and satisfaction, just what I was talking about earlier, that employees are working harder, longer hours, and doing the jobs of more people because of vacant positions. So what does this mean to you as a hiring manager? Okay, for those of you who raise your hand. Obviously, it takes more time to find these people, okay, to find these qualified candidates that you're looking for. You might settle for less qualified candidates, and then you have to train and ramp them up. And candidates are going to judge you more earnestly. In fact, we just had a situation where a candidate said, I'm not taking that position. I have 3 job offers right now, and I don't like the way I was treated during the recruiting process with that company. It was unprofessional. It didn't feel right to me. Now, when have we heard that? 2 or 3 years ago, they wouldn't have cared, right? Like, yes, I'll take it. But now, a candidate can say, that process didn't feel right to me. I'm not taking that job. I'm going to take another one. That's where we are right now. So what does it mean to you as a potential candidate? Because I know there's some of you in the room right now that are interested in new opportunities, or potentially open. So it doesn't mean that you can leave your job today and double your salary, for sure. It does mean that you probably have a little bit more of an advantage in the marketplace, but you got to be careful with this because many times, as we know, the grass is not always greener, and job hoppers, even in a candidate's market, are not looked upon favorably. So many times within a talent shortage like this, if you are interested in other opportunities or you're considering it, then talk to your current manager and talk about your concerns. I know it's uncomfortable, but it costs your employer way more money, sometimes 200%, to lose you than to give you maybe an increase in salary or more of what you want so you can stay. So communication is key there. So it is, finding an available, qualified, wireless professional is very difficult right now. And the key here, the word that we want to look at is available. Okay, most people are working right now. So it is definitely a challenge that we're facing. We want to talk about some solutions to this problem. And I want to talk about 3. Number 1, be real. Number 2, be flexible. And number 3, be intentional. So let's start with be real. Okay, let's get real, folks. We got to really look at this as for what it is, how much do people cost, what's going on right now, and how is this affecting me. So we're looking for someone with the wisdom of a 50-year-old, the experience of a 40-year-old, the drive of a 30-year-old, and and the pay scale of a 20-year-old. You know, it's interesting because is there such a thing as a perfect candidate? You know, we always say no. Okay, no one's perfect. There's no perfect candidate out there. But let's say there is a perfect candidate for you. They're probably working and making a lot of money and happy, and you're going to have to pay them a lot more than you budgeted to get them to leave. So we really want to, get to the bottom of just living in a very real space in this marketplace. Competitive compensation. Let's take a look at compensation in the telecommunications sector. So since 1990, compensation has consistently been higher than other sectors, and it's not going to change anytime soon. Okay, so our folks are paid more money. They just are, and we know that. So know the current market rates for the roles that you need and have a pay range in your mind. Now, this may sound easy. You might say, you know what, I got this. I've been doing this a long time. I've been in this industry for 30 years. I know how to do this. But things are changing, and they're changing so fast. In fact, let's take a look at some actual pay rates here for particular skill sets so you can see the change. In 2016 and 17, we're going to compare that time frame to 2018, actually March of 2018. So for a fiber CM, let's say, in 2016-17, they were making $30 per hour. Now, today, $40 to $45 an hour. Project managers, 2016-17, $40 to $45 an hour. Now, $55 to $60 an hour. Experienced DAS techs, in the past, $25 to $32 an hour, now $30 to $40 an hour. Structured cable techs, fiber techs, 2016, 17 to $20 an hour, now $25 to $30 an hour. So obviously this changes depending upon what market you're looking at. But it gives you the general idea that throughout our country, our pay rates have increased. People are making more money, but have your budgets increased? Maybe not. So it becomes very challenging to navigate through this talent landscape, and that's what we want to talk about today, is how to do that to help you. Number two, be flexible, and this is probably one of the most important points that I'm going to make today. We want to look at actual strategies that you can use, and I want to try to, obviously some of this stuff you already know. Okay, so some of the things I'm saying, you know, it's going to be a great reminder. Some of the things I'm going to say are going to be new, and it would give you a couple of ideas. Even if you take away one idea that's going to help you hire better in this type of a market, then it's going to be a huge success. So let's look at each one of these individually. Prioritize skills. Now, what we like to tell our clients is, look, we see your job description. There's 486,000 things on here that you want in a candidate. That's great. However, let's say the top 10 or 12 that you really think are important. Okay, let's do that now. Let's not wait 4 or 6 weeks down the road when you can't find anybody, you've already wasted time, and then be flexible. Let's start from the very beginning. So take those top 10 or 12 things that you really are looking for, and then you take the top 3 or 5, let's say the top 3, and those are your deal breakers. Okay, it's like when you're dating in a relationship, right? You have deal breakers. Same thing. You take those top 3 or 5, and you say, these are my deal breakers. We have to have these things. Then you use this as a model or a guide as you're interviewing. So one of the mistakes that hiring managers usually make is they start off by wanting everything right up front. And then they look for that, purple squirrel, unicorn, whatever you want to call it, for too long. And now you've wasted time. So by the time you actually get around to prioritizing being flexible, you're already deep in possibly 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, or 2 months or more in this market. So start out by prioritizing your skills. Another area of flexibility is consider remote workers. Okay? I can't tell you how important flexibility is to workers these days. In fact, a 2018 study shows that 31% of employees want a more flexible approach to work. In fact, think about the people in this room. How many of you would like a more flexible approach to work? A more flexible schedule? How many of you would actually like to be able to watch your child's baseball game, or have a little bit more flexibility so you could add some work-life balance in? Okay, that's the future. And that's what we're going to need in order to attract the people that we want to attract. So consider that. Partially remote is essentially just maybe going to the office 1 or 2 days a week. So transferable skills, this is something that you probably heard a lot of. I'm sure that when you do recruit, you recruit for transferable skills. But I want to tell you the most important transferable skills are right here. Teamwork, communication, problem solving, time management. Now, commercial awareness is essentially like an understanding of business, in other words. So really getting how business works. Emotional intelligence is the ability to manage your own emotions and the emotions of others. Now, this is, sometimes can be a tough one. I think everybody on the planet needs to read that book, Emotional Intelligence. It's definitely would help all of us in the workforce today. So skills that translate, look at and be open to skills that translate. Okay, you've got to have an open mind right now. Definitely look at areas and say, okay, well, she's got this, but she doesn't have this over here, but because she has this, she may be able to be successful here with a short ramp up and some training, right? So this is the way you want to start thinking. Hire for potential, not just experience. Now, my mom always told me, don't fall in love with somebody's potential. However, when it comes to hiring, potential is an excellent predictor of performance. And here, this may actually be counterintuitive, and you might say, wait a minute, hold on. Experience is crucial for our skill sets in our industry. But let me tell you what I mean by potential. It's the ability to adapt and grow into increasingly complex roles and environments. So if you think about it, we are in an era of complexity right now. With 5G, IoT, machine to machine, 85% of jobs that will exist in 2030 haven't even been invented yet. 85%, get that, 85% of jobs, okay, that exist in 2030, they haven't even been invented yet. Can you imagine how complex they're going to be? So we need people that have the potential to adapt to this new environment. The hallmarks of potential and what you look for are motivation, curiosity, insight, engagement, and determination. And all this sounds like, yes, that sounds great, Carrie. We love people with all of that, but how do you find it? And again, it goes back to your interview process, and assessments are actually very valuable, and that's one thing that's actually slowing down the hiring process. But you might want to look at adding assessments to your recruiting process, because you will find out a lot about a candidate and their soft skills through assessments. Make culture fit a priority. And this, again, very, very important. We have companies that will hire based on culture fit over experience and over skill. And they're quite successful in large companies in our industry. So find people whose values, outlook, and behavior fit within your organization. And what we don't want to do is hire a bunch of people just like us, right? Because we do need diversity. But it's easy when somebody comes in and it's like, oh, I like them, they're just like me. Well, you don't need 10 people just like you on your team, right? So you want to look at cultural fit as a guide and a predictor. Training. This is an area we've heard a lot about, again, just in this conference. And I think that the solution to the workforce challenges in this industry It lies in training and development, not only outside training sources, but internal training. Training that starts with you, the manager, the leader. You know, you being committed to training and developing. Training that starts with you, the individual. Training and developing yourself. You know, don't depend on someone else to train you, develop you. You know, you may need to go out and do it yourself. Take some courses, classes. We'll talk about that soon. We are so lucky to have job-specific training programs in our industry, such as TEC, Telecommunications Education Network. WIA created this. Jonathan Adelstein talked about this yesterday. You've probably heard a lot about it. TEC offers training and certifications programs for the wireless industry. And they also offer apprenticeship programs that are available to employers. So what does this mean to you? And how could you use this to develop? So number one, if you are a hiring manager, you can actually request that your team members go through some of these courses. Okay, it outsources the training. Makes a huge difference. In fact, I sat in on the 5G course yesterday that was sponsored by TEC. It was mind-blowing. I learned so much. I learned more about 5G in 1 hour than I learned in 2 years. I mean, they really are good. It's not just for entry-level folks. I mean, this is for people who've been in the industry for 10, 20 years who could benefit. So as a hiring manager, have your team members go through this training. The other thing is we're talking about being flexible, right? We're talking about flexibility and interviewing and hiring. So let's say you hire someone, you're like, look, I love this person's soft skills. They're great, they have all the right stuff, but they don't have the right experience that I need. So they're going to need some training. Send them through a program with TEC. They come back to you, they're ready to go, and guess what? You didn't spend any time doing it because you outsourced it. Now, if you don't have the ability to, let's say, the decision-making power to, to register for a course, you can actually go to your supervisor and say, look, I found these courses, I really want to develop myself. In fact, I picked out a couple of courses, can I take one? So this is very important in our industry, with workforce development. And Nate also offers, as Todd talked about, courses as well for development. So very, very important point here. Be intentional. Everybody's busy. Every time I come to a conference, and I'm sure you face the same thing. How are you doing? What does everybody say? Right. I'm busy. I'm so busy. Oh my God, I'm so busy, so busy. Wow, what a busy time in our industry. It's very busy. Woo, I shouldn't be here right now. I should be somewhere else. I should be upstairs. I should be working. It's like, okay, take a deep breath. Yes. We are busy, and it's only going to get busier and busier and busier, okay? We are overworked, overwhelmed, and there's a lot coming. It's like, being in this industry right now feels like drinking from a garden hose sometimes, right? It's just overwhelming, and then you come here, and you hear about everything that's coming, and you think, all right, how am I going to handle all of that on top of everything I've got now? So, you want to use your time effectively and wisely. Really ramp up your productivity in this area. Very, very important that you look at how to save time in interviewing. Have a short first interview. Develop 3 key questions that whoever, the answers to those 3 questions, you will know within a 10-minute period if you want to have a second interview with that person. Then you invest the time in the second interview. Because how many times do you have an interview and it goes on, maybe 30 minutes, 45 minutes, you get to the end and you're like, oh, no, he's a no, she's a no. And now you've wasted that 45 minutes, right? So this is a really nice technique. Also, video interviews are becoming very popular, where you have a preset group of questions, and you have that candidate or the candidates answer those questions on a video, and then you can pre-screen the candidates that way. It actually is highly effective. There's something called Spark Hire that is one of the most popular applications for that currently, Spark Hire. And so that saves time as well. But most importantly, when I say be intentional around hiring, I do mean make it a priority. Okay, it's not fun, it's not at the top of our list, but we have to make it a priority, and then we have to be more efficient with the resources and our time when hiring. If you get one thing from my talk today, I want you to get that speed matters. Okay? In recruiting, time is our enemy, especially now. Especially. Things are moving very fast. Okay, candidates get offers faster than I've ever seen it before. The key is to move through the interviewing quickly. So for instance, you may not have control over the interview process or the hiring process, the hiring process. And many times you don't. Okay, the hiring process is set and you have to go through, certain things to get it done. However, you do have control over when you interview. So in other words, you have that first interview, great, sounds good, I think I want to have a second. Schedule the second quickly, because that person now is out there interviewing, looking, talking to people. That person is moving fast, that candidate. So you want to move just as fast in that interview process. And whoever, if you need to schedule an interview with another team member or leadership, that process should go as fast as possible. So the key here is to try to, and one thing that's very important, which we're going to talk about, is communication with the candidate. So if you have a lengthy hiring process, and believe me, I've heard of some really, really long hiring processes in this industry, and it's a lot of stuff that you have to go through as a manager to get things done. So if you have a long hiring process, just tell the candidate. Tell them up front, say, look, look, Sam, this is going to take a while. Our process is really long. There's a lot of people that need to be talked to. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be done. So just so you know, I don't want you to think that we've forgotten about you. I want you to know you're still in the game. Communication is key with a long hiring process that you have no control over. But if you have control over it, speed it up in this market. Let's look at some trends. It's interesting because Alex was talking about, what did you call it, Alex? Your acronym? FANGS. He was talking about FANGS. I love that. So, Google, Facebook, and Microsoft are getting into the recruiting business. Isn't that interesting? So Google has rolled out something called Google for Jobs. So similar to LinkedIn, you can do job postings on Google now. It is called, you can Google for Jobs and learn all about it. Facebook is rolling out job postings and applications on Facebook. Right now it's for free. Probably won't be for long. But, people can actually submit their application on Facebook. And yes, we can reach people on Facebook, probably my age and older, that's okay, right? I haven't heard anything from Snapchat yet, which is, that's coming, I'm sure, Snapchat and Instagram. And as we know, Microsoft acquired LinkedIn. So there's many more opportunities for you to find candidates where they are. Build a pipeline and a talent community. So this is actually kind of a cool thing. What you do is you build your own database. As a recruiter and as a staffing firm, we have a database. And our database is everything. So we interview, talk with vet candidates, even if we don't have positions, we talk to them and add them to our database. That way, when one of our clients needs something, they're there. So you can develop that on your own within your organizations, and here's how you do it. You have a link on your website to allow job seekers to express interest in your company without applying for a specific job. So it's like, are you interested in vertical bridge? Yes, I'd love to work there someday. Click. Then they enter your database. Once they enter your database, then they go into a system where you contact them once a month or maybe once every 2 weeks, and you just send them a newsletter. What's going on in your company? How are you doing? Here's the current job openings we have. Who knows? One of these candidates may say, oh, I qualify for this. Or, wow, my friend, Susie Smith is looking for a job. She's perfect for this. I'm going to send this over to her. So build your own pipeline, or what is called a talent community. Diversity is hot. It is hot right now. Diversity actually been proven that it improves company culture and it boosts financial performance, a big trend. We just heard from Todd that more women are entering the industry. I think that's fantastic. There's just data after data that shows that when you have a diverse company, the company will make more money and have a larger bottom line. This is interesting. I love this slide because I just turned 50 in October. So this is my favorite one. By 2020, 50% of workers will be over 50. Okay? Hiring older workers, I don't like that word. Okay, I don't feel older. All right? I'll take that one out. Hiring older workers is suddenly in season, Forbes magazine. So this is interesting because baby boomers, they want to work longer. They have expertise, skills, and knowledge that you can access, that you can tap into. I mean, you don't have to raise your hand, or you can, but for those of you who are over 50, I mean, don't you feel great? Don't you feel smarter than ever and wiser than ever? Look at all this knowledge that we've gained over a lifetime, right? So what we don't want to do is we don't want to say, all right, fresh, younger's better. We want to take advantage of, in fact, let me just tell you this fact. In Q1 of this year, the 55 plus age group experienced a 4.8% job growth. So you want to take advantage of this expertise in the marketplace. And it really adds depth to your company. Another slide that's not here is I want to discuss hiring veterans. Warriors for Wireless. I was actually in the U.S. Marine Corps, so I am a veteran. And I'll tell you, the transferable skills to telecom and wireless, just endless, endless. So we know that that's also an area that we can pull from that's very successful. Now there's a trend called the gig economy. How many of you have heard of this, the gig economy? Okay. So the gig economy essentially, in the old economy, we work 40 years, retire, live happily ever after. In the new economy, organizations contract with independent workers for shorter-term engagements. Now, this is not a new concept for our industry. I mean, we offer contract work all the time. But the reason why I want to highlight this is because this is becoming more and more of a trend. In fact, there are 53 million contractors in the U.S. today. And by 2020, 50% of all Americans will be independent contractors. Now let's look at that. 50% of all Americans by the year 2020 will be independent contractors. What does that mean? It doesn't mean that you're not maybe going to have a full-time job, but you may have a full-time job and drive Uber. You may have a full-time job and then you may do graphic design on the side. Or you may actually have you may be a contractor that goes from position to position and has a great life that way. So this is something that is going to be prevalent. It's a huge trend, and you're going to see over the next 5 to 10 years that it's going to become more and more popular. The benefits to contract employees are that it's faster hire. You're not hiring them full time. You're not marrying them, so it's a little bit quicker. They usually are highly specialized. Plug and play. We love that word, plug and play, don't we? Plug and play. Hit the ground running. You can ramp up and ramp down project by project. You save money. There's no benefits, no workers' comp, payroll taxes, and you can also test drive. It's, taking a look at that person, see if they're a good fit for your culture, see if you like them, and reduce your risk with a contract to hire type model, which is very, very popular now. I would say that probably, I don't know, a very high percentage of what we do right now is contract to hire these days in this market. It's a very popular trend right now. So let's look at another trend, and it's interesting, Todd just talked about this. It was fantastic that he queued this up. But recruitment marketing and social recruitment, these are also huge trends. If you are not recruiting online, you are missing out. Job seekers are online. All of us are. How many of you are on LinkedIn? I mean, we're all on LinkedIn, right? I mean, it's huge. So you want to look at recruitment as marketing. Okay, it's no longer, okay, we post a job, we get resumes, everything's good to go. So content marketing, lead generation, nurturing email campaigns, and branding. This is all being done in corporate America for recruiting. For recruiting, to attract key people and qualified employees, because it's very tough right now. You have to stand out. You have to be different. Social recruitment, 79% of job seekers will use social media for their job search. And in marketing, as you know, you go to where they are, right? And where are we? We're on social media. So go to where they are. Obviously, for the younger job seekers, the number goes up to 86. So candidate experience is a very hot topic right now. It's kind of neat, because if you look at, most people look at once they hire someone, okay, having a phenomenal experience for that employee. Once they come aboard, you decorate their desk, you welcome them, you introduce them to everyone, you make sure they have a great first 90 days. Hopefully you're doing all this. But anyway, that employee experience is usually a big priority in corporations. What the trend now is to have the emphasis placed on the candidate experience. So the candidates feel like they want to work for you. They talk about you, they talk about your company in a positive light. They refer you to their friends. This is a small industry, okay, very small, so word gets around. So having that candidate experience means responding quickly, responding to people and giving people the respect of that, yes, I got your resume, or yes, I will be in touch, or no, you're not a fit. Every connection with the company does need to be a positive one. And also you emphasize the company's value and mission in your conversations, because we want to be a part of something bigger and greater. Okay, it's important that our jobs have meanings, right? I mean, we don't just want to go to work every day and just to sit there and get a paycheck. I mean, we want to have meaning. We want to know that we're making a difference, that we're a valuable member of society and making things happen. Now, another option, if you do outsource, is using an outside firm or agency to help you. If you don't have time, or you may have an internal recruiting department as well, and we're going to talk about that. But if you do choose to use an outside agency, you want to partner with someone who understands your industry. So really you want a niche staffing firm that specializes in the telecommunications industry, wireless space, so they understand you. They will have a large targeted pipeline of candidates that are pre-screened. I talked about that earlier. They're going to save time and money with the vetting process. You will get advice on pay rates, what you should be looking at, where to find people. So this is another benefit. They will also have a network of passive candidates. Now, let's talk about passive candidates for just a moment. Passive candidates are candidates that are working. Okay, they're working, they're usually doing just fine. In a tight job market, which we're in right now, recruiters will hunt happy, passive candidates. So what becomes more important than ever to you right now, as employers, leaders, managers, co-workers, is retention. It's retention. Because you have, and I guarantee you in this room, a large percentage of you are being contacted by recruiters right now. This week, last week, week before. So that's what's happening in our economy, and we have to make sure that we focus on retention to keep these people with you, keep them happy. And we don't have time to go into retention, but there's so much information on retention that can really help you design some retention programs that would benefit your firm. So it's interesting because most people think that that people leave jobs because of money, right? To make more money, But the number one reason that people leave is not money. What do you think it is? What? Should be stress, right? Stress. Absolutely.
They hate their boss.
I'm sorry?
They don't like their boss.
They don't like their boss? That's another one. That's actually a good one. You know, you've heard people don't leave companies, they leave bosses. They leave people, right? That is a huge one. That's definitely up there. The number one reason ends up being growth opportunities. And we hear that all the time. There's no growth opportunities there. I have nowhere to go. There's no, you know, I don't see myself really going anywhere with this company. So you want to enroll your employees in a vision of some sort for their future. Every single one of them. Every one of them needs to understand, what's next for me within this organization? So I don't have to leave to grow. So it's a very important point. So you want to look beyond the resume, and this is, in conclusion, I want to share a few things with you. Larry Ellison, who's the CEO of Oracle, he dropped out of 2 colleges, and he has a $54 billion net worth. You know, how many people have you turned down because they don't have a college degree? Why don't you have one? I dropped out. Ooh, that's not a good sign. Terrible sign. Red flag. Richard Branson dropped out of high school at 16. Oh, you don't have a high school diploma? Do GED? Nothing? Wow. Pass. Anne Mulcahy, the former CEO of Xerox, she started as a field sales rep. John Peretti, founder of BuzzFeed and Huffington Post, he was a middle school teacher. You know, we hired a teacher as a recruiter recently, actually it was a few months ago. She is now one of our top recruiters. She had absolutely no experience in recruiting, telecom, wireless, anything. And she is fabulous, absolutely fabulous. Bill Belichick, how many of you know him? He was fired from the Cleveland Browns and then became one of the world's most successful head coaches. So the candidate you, please, I know, we could get into things here. The candidate you reject may end up being someone else's rock star. So look beyond the resume. And also, just going back to one point around your internal recruiters. I don't want to miss this point. Many of you have internal recruiters. And, you know, it's the communication between you, your talent acquisition department, your internal recruiters, your HR department is crucial. Take the time, communicate with them. Use them as partners. Okay, they're there for you. That's their job, is to serve you. So we hear a common complaint from the talent acquisition departments that the managers don't give them enough time. They don't work with them closely enough. They don't communicate with them enough, so they end up rejecting candidates that the managers may actually consider. So make a new commitment to work closely with your talent act departments. So in closing, we have a talent shortage. We know that. And it's only going to get worse as the years go by. But there are solutions that we've seen today. Be real, be flexible, be intentional, and please beef up your training and development internally and externally. So the stakes are high in our industry right now. It is crucial that our industry as a whole takes the necessary steps to prepare for the 5G workforce and beyond. We need to start now so that in 1 year, 3 years, and 5 years, that we're equipped with the right people. We need the right people, and this is going to be a crisis. This reminds me of that story of the ant and the grasshopper, right? We need to prepare now. And all of this starts with you in this room. Thank you so much.